get the elbow leading, but that's very subjective with that forcible contact.
So you don't love it. On first down and 10, Stafford loads up for the deep shot. Running ahead of everyone is Van Jefferson. Touchdown. 52.
And what a statement by the Rams on Monday Night Football. They went into Arizona, beat the first-place Cardinals 30-23. Rams now 9-4 on the season, just one game behind the Cardinals with 4 games left in the regular season. Now, the Rams could actually clinch a playoff spot this weekend if they can win and the Vikings and the Saints both lose or tie. So how about that? Could be celebrating a playoff berth this weekend.
That's right.
And calling the Rams game right here on Fox will be Chris Myers, and he joins us once again. Chris, you've called a couple of Rams games this season so far. COVID issues aside, what do you think about this team now compared to the one maybe you saw earlier in the season?
Yeah, I mean, when they have their players, I must say I was a little disappointed in their defense when you have Aaron Donald and you have Jalen Ramsey and you have the kind of players that they're surrounded by on defense. And those are two of the best at their position. And they hadn't been as dominant and as good as last year's defense. But after their skid, and part of that was Matthew Stafford was having some problems. He threw a couple of interceptions that were returned for touchdowns. And that was an issue that I know Sean McVay was upset about when Jared Goff was here. But the defense, especially Aaron Donald, he showed how he can take over a game and change things on Monday night, and it made everyone around him better, even when Ramsey wasn't there. So, again, the Rams, I think, still have a very good shot at the division if they play that kind of football that we saw on Monday night. And again, they used Odell Beckham. We don't know if he'll be there on Sunday against Seattle, but they didn't turn the ball over. They had a couple of big defensive plays. And obviously the year that Cooper Kupp is having, I mean, their offense goes through him, even with Sony Michel having to take over at running back, being down at a position there with Darrell Henderson out. But the numbers now, it's not just how many are missing. It's which players and in key spots. And that's what's going to be difficult for the game on Sunday. But the Rams are definitely finding their groove. But I think Stafford showed you the reason why the Rams made the trade to get him to put them at the next level. And he carried him through along with Donald. They had their big players step up and then some reserves in an emergency. And I think that was very encouraging. I think Sean McVay also adjusted some things offensively.
He did, Chris.
Calling plays. To make them a little more balanced. Yeah.
Can I get a word in edgewise?
Your show, Jackie.
You asked for
Chris. Chris and I know each other. We've known each other for 20 years. We worked together way back in Bristol years and years ago. You know, one of the things that I thought happened in this game, Chris, that made a lot of what you said about the Rams' positive performances was the fact that I think Cliff Kingsbury I think his head got a little bit big. I mean, when he beat the Rams before, he ran the football 40 times. Yeah. And he comes out, and 7 of his first 9 plays were passes. The very first play of the game, Aaron Donald was whipping his left guard. That guy was no more good. His right guard, that guy was no more good the rest of the day. So I think Cliff Kingsbury found out that there is a formula for you. Just can't come and try to concoct a bunch of different types of things to beat a defense. Like this defense is designed to beat people when they throw the ball consistently and maybe too much. And they're going to play you well on the run. And I didn't think Cliff Kingsbury did a very good job against the Rams. And the Rams did everything that you must do to take advantage. Look at Aaron Donald right there. That was the first play of the game. That's a 330-pound right guard right there that should have been hitting him in the lips instead of taking a pass at.
The defense played great, but let me add to this, okay, Chris, before you start talking, because I think the coaches, I think that they've had a lot of talk about Sean McVay and, of course, Matthew Stafford, but this team, the Rams, were prepared and ready to rock and roll in this game. I don't know what your feeling was, but despite having Ramsey out of the game and Tyler Higbee, the Rams didn't lose one step. They looked great. Matthew Stafford was pitcher perfect. I mean, his balls were precise. They were accurate. He was right on. Great leader, team leader out there. I just want to get your idea of what you thought you saw on Sunday.
Yeah, no, I think this was their playoff game because they knew the division would be out of reach, so they still would make the postseason as a wild card. And it's really, Vince and Jackie, quite the opposite. I called the game earlier in the year when Arizona came to L.A. and beat the Rams. As Jackie said, they ran the ball. They had Chase Edmonds healthy in that game along with Connor. So they did. They ran the ball very successfully, got ahead. And that's a game where it looked like Stafford was forcing things. It looked like, I hate to use the word flat. We used the word flat, or they were prepared, but they just weren't maybe as prepared as they were for this game, in a sense of a desperation game, at least to try and capture the division. And they had guys, the guys you expect to come up big, play big for them. And I think that set the tone for the game coming up, again, against a different Seattle team than when they played earlier, and Russell Wilson was hurt in that game.
Why don't we take a look at the next several games for the Rams as they close out the regular season here. Again, coming up on Sunday, it's the Seahawks, and then they go to Minnesota to take on the Vikings, and then the Ravens, and then finally the 49ers back here at SoFi Stadium. And Chris, now obviously, Arizona's dealing with injuries of its own. DeAndre Hopkins now out for the season, and the running backs, they've been out without Chase Edmonds. Maybe he's coming off IR in the near term, but James Conner, he suffered an ankle injury in that game, so looks like they may be struggling a little bit offensively. Someone's going to have to step it up for them, but you got to like the Rams' chances to take over this division now, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I mean, Arizona's they have the Lions on their schedule. When you look at who the Cardinals have to play, the Rams' schedule is a little bit difficult for teams that are still in it. You saw that a moment ago. But at least if they don't get the division, I think it's really key that the Rams get that top wild card seat, so they at least off the bat don't have to go to a Green Bay or a Tampa. They would go to a Dallas or an Arizona. And as you look at the playoff picture, again, the Rams playing the 49ers towards the end of the year, you always worry about that, the way that they get physical with the Rams that have owned the division is freaky that way, right? The 49ers beat the Rams usually beat the Cardinals beat San Francisco, and the Cardinals beat Seattle, or at least play well enough up there. But I'm intrigued to see this Seattle team Sunday, because they're a healthier Russell Wilson now, and their defensive stats are awful, but they're fifth best in terms of the most important defensive stat, which is points allowed. So it's going to be a tough challenge. The Seahawks come in here. They're desperate. Their string of 9 straight years of having a winning season is in jeopardy if they should stumble here.
I think they're going to stumble big time. I think Seattle just another one, just another link in the chain for the Rams in their efforts to get better. I mean, Andy Dickerson and Shane Waldron, who were both for years on the Ram coaching staff, on Sean McVay's coaching staff, and I thought that they would somewhat duplicate what Sean was doing here up there in Seattle, but it has been a dismal mess as I have watched what they've done up there. I just don't think they're doing nearly the job that Sean McVay is doing.
Well, the one thing, they had Russell Wilson injured, but the guy who came back for him, and he's a Southern California kid, played at San Diego State, Rashad Penny. He had his career best game. He's healthy now after years of battling injury. And if he's here to at least try and run the ball, take some of the pressure off Russell Wilson, it allows Shane Waldron to do some of the play action, some of the things he did successfully, or at least that the Rams did when he was here. So I think that's what they'd like to do now. Tyler Lockett is on their COVID list, and if he's out, he's their best guy. DK Metcalf can put up numbers, but if Lockett is out, of course we don't know who's out. Beckham may be out for the Rams, but that certainly changes things for Seattle. Trying to come up big offensively. Yeah,
I watched Rashad Penny down in San Diego, and he was something at San Diego State, and he has been injured since he came into the NFL, and he looked healthy, and he looked strong.
Could be a
last
problem.
weekend. He may be a problem. Chris, we want to thank you so much for joining us. Chris Myers is going to be calling the game coming up here on Sunday right here on Fox. It's always fun to talk to you, and can't wait to see what happens on Sunday at SoFi.
It's good seeing you, Chris.
Good seeing you, Chris.
Nice. You got a good group there. Have fun. Thanks for having me on.
All right, Chris. Thank you.
All right, Chris Myers. How long ago did you work with him? 20 years ago?
Over 20 years ago.
Wow.
Are we that old?
Yeah, we are. We are that old.
You look great. Y'all look great. All right, we're going to take another time out here, but when we come back with more Sports Wrap, we'll go back to SoFi Stadium. Mark Rogandino standing by.